Hello, everyone. Welcome to our SAP Tips and Tricks coffee break. I'm with Simon Lamothe today. Hi, Simon.
Hi, Tracy.
So today, Simon, who's a consultant with Forgestik, he's going to be covering B1UP, B1UP, which is an add-on for SAP Business One. B1UP meaning Business One Usability Package. And this is a tool that does so many things. But today's going to show us how to create a simple dashboard from scratch. So you don't have a big need to have experience with queries and dashboards. It's really pretty simple. And I keep these recordings on our YouTube page for future use in case anybody needs them. So welcome, Simon. And if anybody has questions, you've got a Q&A box at the bottom. So I'll keep an eye out in case I can help anybody. So all yours, Simon. Thanks.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Today we'll cover the dashboards from B1UP. And I think it's best if we get to it and we'll look directly in SAP. So in SAP, first things first, here we see it activated on our screens. First, you'll need a B1UP add-on and licenses. So you'll need it installed and activated. Once you have it, some people don't even know that they have the possibility of B1 dashboards. All you have to do is basically activate it. And not all users need to see this. So you can actually go into your add-ons, use a big package and your configurations here. And first off, you can just click this little box here to use it. And then you can assign which users you would like to see. So if particular users, particular roles can have these B1 dashboards. Please understand that if you have HANA and you have the cockpit, you can have only one or the other. You can't have both at the same time. So once this is activated, what you'll see is what you'll have here, the standard ones, except this one that we built. We'll create a new one together. So these are the standard ones that you have from B1UP. Little bit similar to the cockpit ones as it's per module, but apart from that, everything's custom. So basically it's you apply a query that you need, and all these KPIs are based on the same query or multiple different queries. So we'll look into creating these shortly. First, these are all the ones that that B1 has configured for you. These are common functions. You can also add calendars here. So the main calendar, same thing as you have up here from SAP. This will load. 1 second.
Yeah, and while that's loading for anybody, for the B1UP, the calendars, we already covered that in another session, really in depth. So if anybody needs to go further into that, we have it on our YouTube page. Just want to say that.
And the dashboards can always, at the bottom right here, can be hidden and shown. So a lot of people still use this as to search. So you can still do the search here. So you can hide and show your dashboards. Okay. So we'll go back to sales. It's the basic one. So from the sales here, while it's loading, you can refresh manually. You can also do it automatic. So you can state how many times you want to refresh. So your data will be real time. The only problem is that if you have very complex and heavy SQL queries, it can soak up a lot of performance from your server. So ideally, you can send it to yourself by email if you want, by a scheduler, or you can just manually update it. There's also, we'll look into the scheduling, the refreshing, but there is 1 minute, 5 minute. Ideally, you would do hourly, so you don't take too much of the resources from your servers. So in settings, you can add a widget. So here here's a widget. So common functions, open item list. So you have a series of different widgets that has been configured. We'll create one together. But one of the main things is views. So views is here is the tabs you have up there here. So you can basically create a view, let's say quality control, landing costs, whatever role or groupment of information you need for a particular role or user, then you can simply add new views. So the views will be shown. Second here. There we go. View settings. And these are the ones that we see. So we can add it, add a new one. We'll call it training. And here's the auto refresh. So you can have a series, like I said, above hourly is ideal. If not, just manually update it or refresh it. So here we've created a new one. Since we create a new one, it will appear here. There we go. So we have our new view. Obviously, we just created it. So if we go over it, it's completely blank. So what we want is add widgets to it. So once we build our views and we add widgets to it, what we can do is distribute it to the users and the people that needs it the most. So first, we can transfer the views to different users. So here's a simple checkbox list of what you want to distribute to who. There we go. Okay, so basically I want to assign training to whoever is in with your database as terms of users. And once you do distribute it, you want to verify the information because the KPIs can be designed to be per salesman, per territory, per item, so you can have a very adaptable or dynamic KPIs depending on the users. So if you want to see what they see, then what you can is impersonate that particular user to verify they see the right information. So if you have confidential information, confidential data, then you can see whether he sees his peers' information. So here, as an example, I would see Michel here. I want to see what he sees. Yeah. So basically here we see my name. So this is my dashboard. And here's slowly but surely. It's loading up. Now it's here, it says Simon, but it's impersonating Michel. So as you see here, he has a different tabs here than myself. So you can validate. So you can unimpersonate. Again there. So back to our training tab, training view. We want to add some widgets. Widgets, we can see what you have by standards. So standard, you have the overviews here. So the overviews is the ones you basically see in each of the standard ones. And then you have other widgets. That is a nice little tools. Example, common functions. So if we say common functions here, basically this, you can add shortcuts, make it easier for your users to navigate SAP. So instead of these menus here, whether they've been adapted or not, then you can quickly say, all right, well, this guy in training, he needs to know how to add, to create items. So add a shortcut, select target, and then there'll be an inventory data. And you can even change the little icons here. You can change the title if you want. So let's say I want this guy to have a compass and say Ray product. So automatically we'll have these things. So double click, item master data. Right? So you can add all these little shortcuts to make it a little easier for these for the users. Other widgets, you can go through it and see all the basic ones that given. Here you have messages and alerts. You can have a little calendar, and you can add as many as you want. You can have world map. So let's see message and alerts. Basically, it's the same as the one up here. Same thing here. And then you can move it where you want and change the size as you like. Right? Making it pixels. There we go. Okay. So now what we want is do the custom. So from a query, we can build our KPIs, whether it's graphs, pivot tables. It's very similar to the menus and the functionalities you have in Excel. So it makes it a lot easier for you to navigate. So either you can go from the add widget here, and you can see here, add or edit dashboard widgets, which will open your dashboard widgets here, or you can go down here to edit dashboard widgets. Once we're here, you can see the basic ones, the standard ones that you can add. What you can do for training purposes and learning purposes, the ideal way is to just duplicate one that B1UP has done for you. So what you can do is, let's say I want to duplicate this sales overview. So the sales overview, remember, is this one over here. Okay, so this sales overview is this big rectangle here. So here, when we duplicate it, sales overview, it created a copy. So we can say copy test. And we double click here next to the check mark. So it's a little bit like your price lists. If you want to see your list, double click and the designer will open. At the bottom left here, you have dashboard designer loading. So this is the loader. So this is the sales overview copy test that we've just duplicated. So we see what B1UP has given us, right? So you can see how they built it. You can also have the query they use. So if you say, not that query, sorry, edit the query. So we can edit query. This is the query they use, right? So you can reuse it, adapt it, change it as you like. So it's a good start kind of reverse engineering if you want to play along. Now today we're just going to add one. So add a new one. So we're going to call it training overview. Okay. For this particular widget, we're not talking about the view here. We're talking about simply the widget. We can assign, double click here, assign the users who have access. So what happens is even if they add it to their view, if they don't have access, they won't see any data. It'll be blank. Right? So then you can add whoever. If it's blank, it's for everyone. So we update. Okay, so once updated, double click on the training overview. And again, the designer will open. So once we're in the designer, the first things first, very similar to Excel, we got to attach a data source. So data source here is query. So you can add a query. So if you have even a run query builder here, you can do your select. You have the possibilities of using the query generator here, which in SAP. So quickly, if you want to know how to navigate what table is what and what field is important, then let's say we open our sales order. Quickly, we'll cover this just to give you an idea, and then you can research more on it. So we've opened a sales order here. In your view, you activate system information. and add system information. If you go on any field in SAP, let's say customer here at the bottom left, you have inscribed there, you have last row, form 139, item 4, pane 0, variable 1. But what's important is the table, which is ORDR, and the field custom card code. So if we navigate in any form in SAP and system information has been activated, we can validate the what field and what table it is from. So from there on, we can mainly list all the information we need from a query and basically build our query from there. Or if you have B1UP, also you can just right click, copy system information, and then here you go. You got table name, field name. So this is a good way to find what is the information that you need before you start building your data source. Or an easy way also to avoid all these, if you have already built SQLs report, you can just go in your query manager and just copy paste them. So grab, let's say this one. Here we got analyse des commandes clients. So this is sales orders analysis. So it's a select someone built that I can reuse. And here ORDR is what we looked, it's a sales order. And I have a where form. So basically it specifies certain clients. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 clients that I can see in this query. So I'm just going to take this, copy paste, build it right in my SQL string. Excuse me.
Yeah. And by the way, everybody, I just want to say one thing. If somebody's looking into how to do these, the queries, we also have other videos that we've covered on that too, if you want it more in depth.
I'm just going to clean it up so it's easier to see. So we select from inner where. So we have our string. So we go next, finish, and here we go. So we have our query that we've added, and every single little field from it. So now it's ready. You can go home. And starting from here, I can add what kind of graph or chart I need. So I need a pivot table. So I'm just going to add it. So here, basically, my rectangle, I can place as many KPIs here to build my overview. So for my pivot table, I would like card name. Yeah, card name. So just drag drop. So rows, card name. And just for the fun of it, I would like also my card code so they can open it to see my card code. My values will be doc total. So line total here goes into value. Drag and drop. Drag and drop. So here I can have a little arrow so I can change what kind of calculation. I have standard deviation, average, count. So for now, we'll just do sum. And then I want to do, okay, so I have the total amount of transactions in dollar. I want to see how many transactions I've had. So I just want to go doc num, add it here. And my doc num here, I will change it to count distinct. So that means I want singular doc nums. I don't want multiples of the same doc num. So I just want to say how many exact transactions I've had for the total of these kinds. So here I see that I have 5 transactions. That is a total of 650K. So this is, you can add as many values as you want. And you can also redefine and rename if you'd like the headers. So I would say number of transactions. There we go. What I can also do is add rules, very similar to Excel. So right click, add rules here, edit rules, I add one. And I want to do a gradient range. So I want to say from yellow to green And then it would say, okay, in terms of percentage of ranges, yellow to green, to apply of the total sum of the line total. So it's like aggregate from small to big. So I just close, and here we go. And then we have yellow, and then larger. As it goes larger, I have more green. So you can adapt. So let's say if you have budgets or profit levels that you must attain, then you can say that you can change colors for certain amounts to be red to attract the eye, or to verify or make sure that your user identifies the problem and tries to either adjust or notices it. So once we have our pivot table, we can either rename it, edit names. So pivot table, say dollar per transaction. Go, and then I would like to add a grid. Click on it. So here it will go right next to it. So from this grid here, I would like something different. I would like same card code, but this time card code, yeah, card code. And I would like to know also the amount of products sold for these card codes. So item code here. So for the item code, I would like here a measure value, right? And my value I want distinct. So I want to see how many different products I've sold, or I think it's ORDR, so it'd be sales order. So here we go. So then I only have 2 products that I've been selling to these particular clients. Okay. So I can rename this as well. So you can even have, so you can numbers, you can also have bars. So something more color-based instead of values. Let's say for line total here, I can change it to a bar. So apply. So now it is blue. I'm sure I can change the color, and I can add rules, and I can edit filters if I would need to. B1UP has videos on, I think, pretty much every single one of these. A lot of this is eye candy. A lot of this is also how to manipulate your data to see how you would like to present it to users. A lot of it is playing around with it. Also, if you have a good understanding of the Excel, I think this will be quick for you to catch up. I think the hardest step to get to here is having your data. Make sure your data is correct, is right, and the query itself built for you to adapt to the dashboard. And if you need help, you can just send an email to Tracy or support to build a query for you. So here, I just want to complete this with a pie chart. So simply, I want to know for my pie chart, within my 2 products here, how much of which have sold the most. So here I want to go to my item group, not my items. I want to my series here, and my line total will be my value. So what I want is the split. There we go. Okay, so your argument here. I have my 2 products that I've been selling, and if I go over it, it shows 51%, and it says 1.21 million, and the other one will be the complete 2.33, right? So I have 1.13, 48%. So total 100%. So once this is done, I can save it. And I can come to my training here. I'll close all this up. Done. My training, and I come to my new widgets. And should find one called training overview, double click, and here we go. So I can place it where I want and make it as big as I would like. I can add multiples, I can make it bigger. I can make individual ones bigger. I can make this full screen if I would like. I can also export them, so I can do a print preview, see for this particular one what it looks like, and I can print it. I can send it by PDF. So you can schedule it even so you receive it by email every Friday, every week, like you as you like it. And here, there we go. So you can click on it and see more information on these. Okay. The last thing I'm going to cover today will be the parameters. So you can have a large data set, data source, and allow the users to filter through and basically target particular, let's say, items, clients, to territories, users, like as you'd like. So here, we're just going to do a simple one, which is going to be card codes. So I can be able to add a parameter here once I'm done, and that parameter will filter through my entire data source, because my data source here is the same query that I've just shown different ways, and it will filter the information. So here I'm just going to close it because I know that once I put the parameter, I'll have to refresh it. So we go back to our widgets here, double click on the training overview, and now we're at parameters. So here, parameters. We add one. So the parameter we're going to create is a string. We can even statically add a particular value, so the users cannot do anything, just only see a particular value. Static, this is good maybe for testing. Generally, if you want a particular value assigned, like we did, you do it in that data source directly. So you want to say, okay, well, I want them to verify, or this overview is only on a particular category of items, then you just put it in the data source. Now name, we're gonna call it search. I'm gonna search our clients. Once that is done, we're gonna go into our data source. Here it becomes a little trickier. I would advise, there's documentation on this. You can note this or review it on YouTube a little later. There's two ways to add a variable or a parameter here. First, you need the field. So here we're going to filter through the card code. And here is where it's a little more trickier. You have to do this syntax here. This is for HANA. So you have to, our search parameter, and you have to add a VAR, 2 lines, and a commas with a percentage. So if you are in SQL, the difference is this. So the parameter is a @ with an N. So these, if you send me an email, I'll be able to share those with you. If not, B1UP has it on their site. So here, this is a search for parameter. So we'll say next. Here we'll just add a new one. Add a new one. We have to spell it exactly as we did before. And the type is a string. And the expression is search. Here. There we go. And we finish. And just save. And then we'll redeploy the dashboard. And we'll play around with a parameter. So here, new widget, edit widgets. Nope. It's right here. Add a new widget. We'll add our training one. right here. Okay, so we'll just make it a little bigger. Full screen. And here we have our parameters now. So 3 little dots, parameters. So for this exercise, I'd like to filter through the FPA D01. So I'm gonna do that now. So I'm gonna parameters. I'm gonna put my value here. It's gonna be FPA D01. Submit. And there we go. So every single data set has been changed for this particular card code. Right, so you can adapt it, the same principle for items, for card codes, for territories, for item groups. And then what it'll do is target particular data. So here, if we go on our total amount, see the total, even the total amount has changed for that particular line. So it's a nice little tool to have. Okay. So that concludes today. If anyone has any questions, comments,
thanks, Simon. Yeah, you have the Q&A box at the bottom if anybody wants to ask any questions. So Omar asked me to send him the link for our YouTube page. So if anybody else wants it, just send me an email. Simon, could you put that up? Last page of the PowerPoint that has my contact on it. So if anybody has questions, you want to,
there you go.
There you go. So you can either submit a ticket through your AutoTask ticketing system at the support desk, or just reach out to me. You can call me. Same thing. I'm always available, and I can help anyone out who's looking for something specific or wants links for our other training sessions. Well, I have no questions, Simon. So thanks, everybody. And thank you, Simon. Have a great weekend.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.